Time now for MediaWatch with Emma James. Hello, Emma.
Hi there.
You've been looking at a latest attempt by Hillary Clinton to try to woo young voters, but there's divided opinion on it.
Yes, very much so. Hillary Clinton has taken a starring role in an online television show. It's a spoof talk show called Between Two Ferns. Now, it's a canny move because this is a real online phenomenon. Millions of people tune in to see these programs. It's hosted by Zach Galifianakis, an actor you may be familiar with if you like movies about hangovers. But it is a very dry kind of comedy, and not everyone gets it. This is an excerpt where Zach is appearing to mistake being Secretary of State for being the actual Secretary of President Obama.
As Secretary, how many words per minute could you type? And how does President Obama like his coffee? Like himself? Weak?
You know, Zach, those are really out-of-date questions. You need to get out more.
What happens if you become pregnant? Are we going to be stuck with Tim Kaine for 9 months? How does this work?
I could send you some pamphlets that might help you understand.
This has been a lot of fun, Mrs. Clinton. We should stay in touch. What's the best way to reach you? Email?
You've got mail.
So undoubtedly very comedic, but most of the funny lines were coming from the host, it has to be said. Hillary herself has been tweeting her favourite excerpts of it, including this bit where she said to the host, "Don't tell me what to say." And that really is proof positive that she was very much involved in the decision to take part in this programme. Now, people who like Hillary certainly were very impressed with what she had to say. Got to give credit where due. Hillary made me laugh a lot in this and was genuinely funny. This Twitter user, "It's hilarious, and I've always appreciated Hillary's love of deadpan. But it is that deadpan aspect that seems to have confused others." Admittedly, though, these particular tweets are from people who are clearly fans of Donald Trump. "This is hilarious. Even the Liberals are making fun of Hillary now," says Deplorable Andy. This Twitter user, "Holy mackerel, even the Liberals can't stand her. Crooked Hillary is finished sad." However, it is a question of did they actually get the joke? When you look at this article from Newsweek, they talk about the fact that basically it is tough to tell whether or not she's joking, but they say she is, because after all, this was her idea. They've spoken to Scott Aukerman, who is the co-creator of Between Two Ferns and also directed this particular episode. And what he had to say is that we were genuinely surprised when she was willing to just be roasted like that. Nothing was off limits, apparently, and the questions weren't even cleared in advance, which is very, very unusual. If we take a look at this article from the Washington Post, they highlight the fact that when President Obama appeared on this show in 2014, a program that's had views more than 16 million times on YouTube alone, he was given a lot more advance notice. He was told about some of the questions. So while he appeared a lot wittier and a lot funnier, there was a reason for that. He had prior knowledge of some of the questions. They don't, however, think that Donald Trump would be willing to face the same treatment, which is interesting. Taking a look to see whether or not her gamble to win over young voters has worked, looking at some of this very much youth-orientated websites like Vice News, they say she went on Between Two Ferns so that young people will like her. However, they said she stiffly worked her way through some jokes and was not as effortlessly comedic as our current commander-in-chief or even Jeb Bush.
Yeah, well, you got to play to people's strengths, and I think being that deadpan might have worked out for her a little bit personally. Well, as you were talking about her Republican rival, Donald Trump, being talked about a bit, some say that Nicolas Sarkozy is a French version of Donald Trump.
Yes, absolutely. The French Prime Minister Manuel Valls has actually started this idea by coining the phrase Trumpisation, which I guess in English you would call Trumpification. He is using it to describe what Nicolas Sarkozy is doing to the campaign trail as France gears up for next year's presidential election. Now, Valls accuses the former President Sarkozy of making a daily standout comment just to make himself the centre of attention, to ensure that his fairly right-wing agenda right now very much dominates the political conversation. He says it's provoking and polarising, and these bear the same hallmarks as those methods used by Donald Trump in the United States. Now, the comparison has led to cartoons like this one. Of course, Les Républicains, the party of Nicolas Sarkozy, the Republicans, the party of Donald Trump, and this time they are called the Repugnants as they appear alongside one another in clown suits. Also, we're seeing headlines like this one appearing, this one in Marianne. Sarkozy plays the big bad Trump. With the media in tow, they say his appearance in Calais last weekend, of course, the site of the jungle migrant camp, was marked out by some comments that have more than an air of Trump about them. This particular quote highlighted here, he told protesters from Gabon that this is France, it's not Gabon. If you want to go back to Gabon, go back there, because they were trying to highlight the fact that Sarkozy has given a lot of support to Ali Bongo. These protesters saying that Ali Bongo shouldn't be retaining power. Looking elsewhere, though, he continued the theme on Monday, talking about immigration. If you want to become French, you speak French, you live like the French. Once you become French, your ancestors are the Gauls, he said. Politico has been taking a look at this one too, and they believe that basically Mr. Sarkozy's response to this Trumpification claim, he says, what's Trump got to do with it? I'm a friend of Hillary Clinton's. So he's trying to distance himself because he knows that Trump isn't necessarily all that popular here in Europe. Interestingly, though, this particular Twitter user highlighting some very physical resemblances and similarities between the two as they deliver speeches, very similar gestures indeed. But does the similarity end there? We'll have to see.
I say imitation is the highest form of flattery, but let's not judge. Emma James with MediaWatch.